Hello, ladies and gentlemen, how are you all doing? This is Con Ulrich coming to you with another episode of Company of Heroes 2 Fight Night. Just before we really get started introducing the players and everything like that, I want to make a quick shout out. Over this past weekend, one of my earlier subscribers, Krampus, actually got married. So Krampus, congratulations again on that. Wishing you all the best, and hopefully we'll get to see some material coming out from you soon. I know Krampus is considering actually taking up the whole YouTube casting mantle as well. But anyway, moving past joyous news such as that, guys, what do we have here? Today we have the map Feynmanville approach. In the south of here, wearing the blue trunks, we have the Wehrmacht forces of Diogenes. And up here in the north, we have somehow, in the middle of France, we have the Soviet forces of Fortune. As you can kind of see right now, we do have a kind of a triple combat engineer opening coming out for Fortune, as well as two Grens and the Storm Pyros coming out from Diogenes. But while things are still a little bit more quiet, even though we're going to have a little bit of fire coming back between these SVTs, no, not SVTs, I can't think of the name of that, Moistenagants, there we go, Moistenagants, and the MP40s, probably going to end with a retreat of these combat engineers. Take a quick look at the commanders for each side. So for Diogenes, well, he's bringing in a mortar half-track, a mortar squad rather. He's got Spearhead Doctrines, bringing that mortar half-track as well as that Tiger tank. A Lightning War, which also has that Tiger tank, but also brings on that relief infantry, which is kind of interesting. And Luftwaffe Supply Doctrine. Luftwaffe Supply Doctrine, I have to admit, I don't see too often. You have the Junker, is it 87s or 88s? Junker 87s. That do a lot of damage to airstrikes, but at the same time, you don't really see that doctrine too often. And Fortune right now is bringing out a 1910 Maxim to kind of come out in the field. They have been getting a little bit of debuffs recently, but I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen to them in the next patch. But while I'm speaking about that, while the map is setting itself up into a vague 50-50, and yes, there go those combat engineers like we anticipated. Fortune, what does Fortune bring into the field? Well, he's got Lend-Lease tactics, so he's got the Dushka as well as that M4C Sherman, kind of interesting. Defensive tactics for community, which is kind of different. I don't really often see this ever. Actually, it's probably the first time I've ever seen this. Kind of interesting. So he's got a 45mm tank gun, which is kind of a garbage as far as I understand it, but also Dushka again, as well as that 120mm mortar squad. And finally, he's got terror tactics to kind of bring out that whole propaganda artillery, which is kind of interesting. As well as the KV-8 and that 152mm gun howitzer, which is terrifying, let me tell you. But right now, it looks like that mortar is starting to open up. We see it kind of over here, kind of in the middle of the map, even as the Soviet forces are up here in the north, kind of capping and moving towards this taken VP. I'm surprised right now, Diogenes, is he checking up at all? It does not yet look like that. Well, let's actually try to select one of his units for a change. There we go. Oh, no, it's still not working out. Let's try this again. No, is he teching up? Yes, he is teching up already. A 3-minute tech up. Pretty quick, but at the same time having only 3 Royal Combat Squads out in the field against kind of like, let's call it 4, because the combat engineers are not going to be a good, strong, consistent level of DPS, and those support weapons are not still as great. You're going to see Fortune kind of pushing back on this particular field, and already we do see the support weapons company coming out for Fortune. And interestingly enough, how much are those medics going to cost? I'm surprised it doesn't pick up the medics already. I know some people say you want to wait until you take some HP losses, but at the same time, to me, even as these mines start going down way the heck up here, I would be a little more, I think, a little more intent upon picking up things such as the heal opportunities. And do we have that coming out already? No, wow, this combat engineers better move up really quick. Good, he's kind of back away in a soft retreat. At the same side, though, this Maxims are going to pretty much keep these Grenadiers stuck up where they are. And although it does look like we do have, good lord, try this again, the Lithium Mechanized Company done, it does mean that the Germans are going to have kind of an uphill battle for the moment. Because once these let's try this again, these Maxim 1910s kind of get set up. Oh, never mind, they get pushed away by a nice little flank from the Sturm Pyros. Might even drop it. Ooh, the mortar shot takes out 2 models, and definitely kind of hammers them a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. That field infirmary, there we go. Cool. So we have the medics coming out for Fortune, and I might be interested to see what he's going to pick up, either the Molotovs or the anti-tanks. My guess is probably the Molotovs. He does have the fuel to spare, but then again, he doesn't have the conscripts to really use it, so maybe that's going to wait just a little bit longer until he kind of moves towards that. And interestingly enough, with that master retreat, it does allow Diogenes a lot of time to kind of get back out on this map. It doesn't necessarily mean that the VPs are going to be crazily in Diogenes' favor, but neither at the same time does it mean that things are going to be easy for our Soviet player. 500 to 474, only 6 minutes in, and we do see a Rock 3 flamethrower coming out on one of these squads of combat engineers, and these Maxims moved up as well. It's kind of interesting to see if maybe, probably not, I was thinking to myself, maybe Diogenes might consider the idea of picking up, what's the term I'm looking for? A sniper, but instead he's looking for that early pack, which I'm not so sure I necessarily agree with. There's really no point in my mind. I hasn't seen really kind of any evidence of Fortune bringing out any kind of light vehicle forces. And then again, though, he is bringing the Tank Infantry Battalion, so it might be a early T-70 coming out. But okay. We are going to see a 2-to-1 cap happening for Diogenes. Excuse me, guys. It's been a very rough morning so far. But I'm going to see Diogenes is going to take a 2-to-1 cap over here and continue to drain VPs off that Soviet player. But with with only really a mortar to kind of push away these Maxims, it's going to be quite interesting to see how Diogenes is going to kind of retake control of the map. I am surprised to see that Fortune is floating a fair amount of manpower. Maybe just waiting for an early... No. Oh, he still has ways to go for that fuel. Yeah, maybe a good idea for Fortune to actually invest a little bit more in his infantry. Right now, yeah, I'm not too sure I really agree with him floating 600 manpower this early on in the game. By the same token, he has decapped both points for Diogenes, so you're going to see a Russian drain on the German forces, as well as a clear domination of this map. But that domination is not going to last too long, let me tell you. We'd also see that the Kampfgruppe headquarters has not teched up, and although he's got the fuel to really kind of pick up a light vehicle, Diogenes is not electing to do so, which is probably a good idea right now. Even more interesting is that these combat engineers are going to move nice and close to these grenadiers off to the western side. And with the support of both those Maxims, yeah, definitely force away those Grens back to home base. Probably not going to drop a squad here, but it's pretty close. Tons of damage being done to them. Interestingly enough, was this... Oh no, it's just a munitions point down here. What have we got going up here in the north? Well, I can't help but wonder... There we go. That's going to do it. So the TM-35 mines are going down before by those combat engineers. And there's another one coming down right here. Definitely doing work for Fortune, taking out an entire squad of Panzergrens immediately. Just brutal. So we might see another squad of Sturmpyos maybe picking up the hazard removal kit. But that needs to come out pretty soon, because we do see one of those light M5s coming out, those clown cars for the Soviets. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that. Maybe I probably would have waited for that T-70 after all. Especially not even knowing that the pack is already out in the field. And there's the mine detecting kit for Diogenes, and there's also a half-track coming out as well. So while these machine guns keep this mortar kind of pressured back, we might going to see a very, very advanced infantry squad. Might even put down more mines right in this area. You can see there's just Tyler mines. There's mines in every which direction. There's gonna be explosions all over. Let's take a quick look up over here. Well, we do see that this Maxim continues to put pressure on all the Sturmpyos are looking to break out pretty quickly. They might turn around a little bit with this half-track coming out, and although these Maxims are going to be enough to probably put some pressure on the half-track, not so much force it away, but just a little bit of pressure, this will allow Diogenes to get a little bit more presence out in the field. Reinforced point, as well as that couple of machine guns, it might be a good idea. It increases mobility quite a bit. We do see an excellent flank coming out over here from Diogenes, forcing this Maxim to kind of reposition a little bit, maybe be a little more on top of that micro. That does force it away, so he forces it into retreat. And we do see some early veterancy coming out for the German player. By the same token, you might want to pick up on that VP drain right now, and although this Maxim over here is kind of hunkering down by this wall, definitely going to cover out this entire road area, things are not looking too spiffy for either side. We do, however, see Fortune has decided to pick up a terror attack, which means he's going to bring shock troops in. And I have to admit, shock troops out of the three different versions of Soviet mainline infantry, I don't know if shock troops are really my favorite. I might actually just like to go with the kind of versatility of the conscripts, although those shock troops do come in immediately with the opportunity to throw these various grenades. Just for me, I just don't particularly like the shock troops because the rest of this particular set, except for the KV-8 in my mind, I don't find a whole lot of usage for the IL-2s. I'm sure people will disagree with me on that one. But I find a lot more utility in some of the other commanders than terror tactics. That being said, these PPSs are going to wreck the Sturmpires, who are forced into a very, very quick retreat. And although these squads, both sides have very, very similar army composition numbers, the composition right now is clearly in Fortune's favor. The support weapons of Diogenes are getting forced away pretty much at every turn. Has anyone else kind of teched up just yet? Has Diogenes teched up? No, he has not. How about that? No, he's bringing another squad, and well, the MG-42, which is probably a good idea to kind of lock down some of this infantry that's coming out. Nevertheless, Diogenes does need to get on his horse. It is 11 minutes into this game. He's already down almost 100 VPs, 100 tickets, excuse me. But with an MG-42, we're probably going to see a lot more difficulty of for the Soviets moving forward. But with them controlling a lot of the fuel on this particular map, it's going to be kind of harsh. Oof. For the Germans to kind of really control things moving in the immediate future. Of course, as I say that, the mortar kind of comes in, does like 80% HP damage to that Maxim squad, is forced back, takes out 3 models, and eliminates a very, very big issue for the middle part of this field. Unfortunately, they did not think that there might be another machine gun right in the area. This thing's probably going to get suppressed pretty quickly. Yep, immediately pulls back. However, this 222 coming out might be just enough to kind of force back some of these combat engineer squads as well. As long as they want, anyway, as they keep a little more distance, it might be enough to take on even those shock troops, should they be able to kind of kite. We do see one of the VPs kind of being capped over here by the Southern Gren squad, although, oh good lord, this upgunned M5 half-track is going to cut these guys to ribbons. You've got to pull back right now. And that might be just as good as a victory for our Soviet players. You might even be able to pick up a squad here. I would find it kind of fascinating. Yep, he picks up the squad. So one of those very, very valiant Grenadier forces is pulled off. At the same time, this 222 and this Pak-40 might be more than enough to kind of pick on this half-track. But the ZS, oh good god, might even lose its half-track. Yep, the half-track does go down. Brutal, brutal losses for Diogenes, taking a lot of hits from Fortune. And although this 222 is going to give a lot of issues to these shock troops right nearby, wow, that was an unexpected move, I have to say. That said, it is not over just yet, folks. Don't count out Diogenes just yet, especially with mortar shots like that. Good gosh, another 222 is going to come in for Diogenes, and he's going to chase these guys pretty much back all the way back to Mother Russia. Probably going to drop at least one more model, probably 2. And as long as, do they already have those tank? No, they still don't have the anti-tank guns, anti-tank grenades rather, excuse me. So this machine gun is going to force it away, at least moderately. But good gosh, again, that mortar just doing work. 10 kills, 2 stars of veterancy, and gosh, whatever he fires, it seems like something goes down.
We have a new scout car.
Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. That Pak-40, maybe it's going to see a retreat kind of shift and pull away this ESU pack around this area. It might be able to be picked up for the Pak-40. But needs to watch out by these charging squads right here. Both of them obviously in negative cover, and at the same time might be enough to really, really make them think better of it. As you see already, one combat engineer squad does get pulled back. And although this particular 222 takes a lot of fire, we do see a quick retreat out of the Russian forces. 312 to 468, 311 to 468, excuse me, a 2-to-1 cap in favor of the Soviets. Take a quick look at this map overall to kind of see how things are going. It's not so much a 50-50 break of the map. We do see a little bit more of a 60-40 in favor of the Soviets, which is not surprising, all things considered. There's been a very dominant early infantry play from Fortune's side of things. Then again, these Maxims are going to start seeing a little bit less and less utility with these much more mobile 222s. But it does look already like Fortune's kind of bringing up an answer to that. bringing in looks like an Su-76, which means that it might be time for Diogenes to either pick a commander or to tech up further.
We have 300 points remaining.
And he still has not teched up, which is kind of surprising to me, because in my mind he really does need support of that Offspring as well as that Panzer IV. And while this anti-personnel grenade is going to do a lot of damage to those Shrimpayos, those shock troops may find it a little bit more necessary for them to kind of back up pretty darn quickly. Never mind, I got to take it back. That Su-76 does put a hurting on that first 222, and with this other ZSU over here, that might be a little bit rough for Diogenes' forces. It'll be even more rough if he actually loses those mine detectors. Ooh, but here comes something really interesting that comes right in front of that Pack 40. It doesn't do a whole lot of work for it, though. It looks like you might even just lose it instead. One shot is all it takes. One shot is all it takes. Good gosh. And it looks like that Pack 40 is not going to be able to rotate in time. And that, oh my gosh, the ZSU is going to make it out again. Taken out, in fact, even one of those 222s. Wow. 2 stars on it already. How many kills does that thing have? 7 kills. A little bit surprised. You don't see the ZSU. You don't really see clown cars really coming out that too often from Soviet players. There might be something changing up with the evolution of this particular game. At the same time, we do see this Pack 40 is going to get forced away pretty quickly. It might even get decrewed by this Maxim. The amount of firepower that comes out of those things is pretty rough. Yikes. And the hits just keep on coming against Diogenes' valiant forces over here. However, we do see this Su-76 does come forward now. It's probably going to put a lot of fire on this Pack 40, but being recrewed rather, excuse me, this Su-76 might consider running. And then again, here comes that propaganda bombardment, which is always a little bit interesting. Could not tell you what that exactly does. Maybe it forces people into retreat. Could not tell you, because I don't see it too often, like I said before. And this ZSU just continues to do work. Takes out the second 222. And although he might buy it, wow, trading this half-track for 2 222s, a German half-track, and decrewed this Vet 3 mortar, excuse me. Wow. And somehow they're just unable to completely hit it. There we go, they finally hit it. And a little fortunate at the same time, he's floating 1,400 manpower. So he's got to really start using that, because good gosh, that's just insane. It's going to be quite a long time until he does get that KV-8. So I don't really know what he should be doing. My guess is honestly pick up some more mainline infantry. Dude, just call in some more shock troops. Call in some more anything, really. Because you have Diogenes on the ropes. Diogenes isn't doing too well either. He is floating a ton of materials as well, but he has finally teched up to Tier 2 to bring out that support armor core. But at this point, that might be the only way he's going to come back in this. I am surprised he still hasn't picked up a particular doctrine just yet. And although these Grenadiers are going to move forwards and may even put some fire, like a Panzerfaust, on the Su-76, yep, and that's what's going to be. There we go. Not going to be enough to really be lethal, let's say, against that mobile gun platform. Especially considering the amount of firepower and still the amount of Soviet troops out in the middle of this field. It might behoove Diogenes to also invest in some more infantry at the same time. But things might be turning around from this MP40s of those Shrimpayos, and forces them right into this MG42 that's just looking for a lot of payback for how much damage they were taking before, forcing the Maxim into retreat. And although we moved to the 19th minute of this game, and we do see the Soviets have almost 120, 130 VP lead, the material going on right now does force us to recognize that things are not over just yet, especially with the Stug coming onto the field. Now, between an Su-76 and a Stug, I would have to probably give my initial edge to a Stug, with both assault guns really being only kind of limited fire arc material. Oh, that just sounds so, first of all, like completely and totally out of date, just that squeal. Some friendly fire does happen there to kind of just rock and sock onto that MG42, and oof, and that's going to be a brutal loss if they get that MG42 out of there. Yeah, they're going to steal that MG42. That's going to be rough, because that was just doing a lot of work for Diogenes' forces. Nevertheless, it looks like that Su-76 does get the first shot in on that Stug, but does miss the second one, unfortunately, for him. And these Maxims at the same time is probably going to get forced away by this MP40s of these Strumpyos, again, which just have the mobility that just kind of dance all around them and just kind of sting like a butterfly and float like a bee, or do I have that backwards? Then again, Missed Micro does see these Strumpyos forced into a retreat, and we're going to see Diogenes lose that fuel point one more time. I would like to really see a lot more infantry than what we're seeing out of both players, especially how much they have. But honestly, at this point, Fortune really needs to call in a KV-8. That would just seal the deal in my mind. Diogenes, in the meantime, decides to go for a double sniper late in the game. Almost going to the 21st minute of this game. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that call-out, but I've probably said, using that much earlier on, the higher amount of micro that's necessary to kind of keep things on an even keel might be too much for him to handle. Of course, I say that as now, those Strumpyos have decapped that center point, making things back 1-1. Not favoring anyone just yet. Maybe just going around just trying to be harassing and just decapping points left, right, and center. And interestingly enough, we do see that the Germans have completely and totally forced away pretty much all Soviet forces on this particular field. But yes, how are we doing with all this? 278 to 383, and no one is losing points just yet. But with this MG42 coming to the field, as well as that Maxim, and another Maxim actually coming out of the field at the same time too, this infantry for the German side is going to be hard-pressed to deal with the Soviets. Meanwhile, this PaK-40 continues to have issues not being set up correctly. And although that mortar does start putting hits again on the shock troops, it might not be enough. Those PPSs are going to be kind of the boogeyman, the Baba Yaga, if you will, of the German forces. Especially if they move nice and close over here, they might even get a grenade on this mortar, and they oof, yeah, they do take it out. That's brutal. It's a brutal loss. And once again, we do see. Wow. And we see that, oh my gosh, we see the howitzer come onto the field. Very, very interesting. You don't see this very often, and neither at the same time do you see snipers getting run into machine guns. So a lot of force happening in my mind in this particular game. We do also see, though, that Diogenes has finally decided to go for Lightning War Doctrine, so he's trying to get some Osttruppen. But that does require him to lose a lot more forces than he already has, so I don't necessarily know if he's trying to... I don't really know what he's trying to do. But at this point, there's a second howitzer out in the field, and another one actually getting built right now. So Fortune's just looking to kind of sit back and just kind of pound people into submission, it looks like. Which, honestly, the amount of weaponry that he's got is going to be a little difficult for Diogenes to deal with, especially if these things continue to pound on his base. But okay. An Ostwind comes out in the field. The 23rd minute has come and gone for the map. And the snipers are just at crazy low health. I don't know why he hasn't tried to heal these guys up just yet. Where are they on this field? Looks like if they take one shot, they both... Okay, either one of these guys takes a shot, they're going to die. So we have 4 kills on one, 3 on the other. I'm not sure I agree with the fact that right now there's really not a whole lot of usage coming out from them. We are going to see these howitzers continue to shell all day, every day on this base sector. But we do see the Flak Panzer come back out, and I do kind of wish one thing that they actually brought back in for Company of Heroes 2 would have been the Verbal-Wind. I honestly don't think there's a Verbal-Wind in the game at all, which is just such a shame because I always loved watching that thing just open up. Good gosh, it was like watching a half-track. What, the ZSU from before? Just hammered things, so it was incredible to watch. But okay, now we do see those shock troops are retreating yet again. Those guys somehow still managing to stick around despite all the firepower that's been thrown at them.
Foes are behind our lines. Headquarters attacked.
We do also see, though, at the same time, one squad of Osttruppen comes in response to the relief infantry. May not be quite enough to turn the tides, but Diogenes does finally seem to have at least some infantry out in the field. Then again, these snipers, if they continue to stay where they are, they're going to get taken out in one unlucky hit from any kind of indirect fire support. And now we also do see that KV-8 is coming out into the field. And ladies and gentlemen, everyone else in between, that might be more than enough for Fortune to seal this game as a victory. Yeah, brutal. The Stuck's going to come in and is not going to be able to deal quickly enough with this KV-8. And I don't know right now if there's enough left in Diogenes Yeah. Diogenes is hurting pretty hardcore, and the flames are just making my computer weep. But guys, also while I'm thinking about it, my computer, guys, after this coming week or so, it's my hope that we actually will see a new system coming out. I have actually ordered the parts, more material is coming in, and as that pack 40 goes down, I must note that I'm excited to give you guys some high quality new material kind of coming in. Is this KV8 going to go down? I might be, oh, but then again, this gun might be enough to take out. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. The KV8 survived just barely from the cover fire from the Ziscon. I didn't even see that thing go into place. But yes, anyway, getting back to my computer real quick. So yes, there's going to be a new system coming online, which means that all these games, everything like that's going to come out in bright, new, fancy schmancy graphics. Beautiful graphics, I may say so myself. And the Flak Panzer somehow manages to completely and totally crush 3 models of the Ziscon. Although, I don't think it's going to be enough for Diogenes to get back into this game. He's got pretty much half the number of troops currently enjoyed by Fortune, and even with the NSU-76 dying, which forgive me for missing out on that one, guys, there's a T-34 coming out, and I don't think there's just enough yet back for Diogenes to get into this game. And good lord, he even runs over that TM-35 mine that was there 15 to 20 minutes ago. And yes, guys, I don't think he's got the distance, unfortunately. It looks like Diogenes might actually fall to Fortune. I have to give my hats off to Fortune on it. But they're still coming out for Diogenes, looking to kind of use as much as possible to kind of get back into this game, but I don't think he's really got an opportunity, unfortunately. We do see 2 Osttrooping squads coming out to kind of even up some of that disparity in infantry. Then again, this entire northern part of his base has been rocked and socked by those howitzers. 6 kills on one, 2 kills on another one. And while this Maxim over here might be enough, oh nope, never mind. It's gonna get, oof, oof, brutal. And yes, guys, give me 1 second. I'm sorry about that mess up in the corner. I will definitely attend to that in a little bit. You see the KV-8's getting a massive amount of attention from those combat engineers, repairing it rather quickly. And although this game has gone on for 28 minutes, I'm surprised to note there has not been a ton of veterancy. We have been seeing a lot of trades. Some of them may not have necessarily needed to happen. And this T-34 has already taken down the Flak Panzer, so the brave T-34 has taken down that very, very valiant Flak Panzer instead.
We need to re-establish our supply lines.
But okay.
Taking what we have secured.
Take a quick review of the game. Right now it's 268 to 335 on the 20th minute of the game. Surprisingly enough, the Germans have taken up a good portion of this field, though I really am going to be surprised if people like this sniper make it out at all. And these Osttroopers, I think, at the same time are going to get wrecked by this KV-8 that's going to come in and just roast and toast. And I think it's kind of an issue for the Germans. A great big Wehrmacht roast, if you know what I mean. And, yep. And those howitzers continue to fire at the headquarters area, and one unlucky hit's going to take out this sniper, and with no medical bunker left, yeah, guys, I don't even know what to tell you. Diogenes has a lot of troops on the field, but not the right ones in my mind. And for some reason, he decided to pick up another Flak Panzer. I would say that might have been a better idea a little bit earlier on, but unfortunately at this point, I think it might need to have a little more hardy troops to kind of both support this Pack 40 as well as this Stug. I guess I do not know how that's going to work out, and I'm actually kind of surprised to see that Fortune's not also picked up the Ziscon one more time. It might be what he's doing right now, and that's what happened. So both squads are going to back up in a second to reinforce, and Diogenes might just see the wisdom in quitting in just a second. This Pack 40 and the Stug are actually rocking on this KV-8, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe there can be a miracle after all. But the Thriller in Manila is not going to be quite enough for this Pack 40. It looks like it's going to get burned to a crisp, taking a lot of fire. The KV-8 might go down, but good gosh, guys, a valiant effort. Yep, there goes the Pack 40. And this mortar is getting wrecked as well. Nope, he decreased that mortar as well. So although these Osttroopers are in the area, so is that T-34. And I think the Stug might not make it. Even more so when we bring in this whole IL-2 precision strike. Oof. Yep. And there goes the Pack 40. There is one guy left in that Osttrooping squad. And guys, I do believe that's going to be all she wrote for this particular game. That The T-34-76 is going to be more than enough to take on this pack. Gosh, saying it again, the Ostwind. And the firepower being leveled at this area is just way too much. I just want to see one unlucky shot come in and just wreck these squads. Any second now, I can imagine. Ooh, somehow those one-man Ostgruppen squads make it out. Ugh. The T-34 is just now going to run around pretty impotent. Not impotent, omnipotent, really. Yep, Diogenes is half the forces, and guys, that's going to be all she wrote in this particular game. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a game you want me to check out, I am more than happy to do so. And that's that beautiful shot, unfortunately, a rather tender and kind of despairing shot of this Ostwind is just kind of trooping over there. Stop firing your guns. It's over. Game over, man. I have to say thanks so much for tuning in. Both games, both sides did play well enough. I would have liked to see a little more adequate usage of resources, but I can't fault them for being very involved in the micro on the map. But thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys will come back next time. If you like what you see here, like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget that next week should probably be the beginning of new spiffy videos with a brand new system. So, for the time being, guys, this is Con Ulrich signing off. You all have a great day. Take it easy.